Hey everyone, welcome back to the Bald Guy Money channel. I am Bald Guy. Let's talk money. This is where we talk about converting your cash into wealth building assets, and specifically what we're going to be talking about today is the best strategy for investing in Bitcoin. And it's a strategy that I have been using as long as I've been investing in Bitcoin. And I think it is the best strategy that everybody who is new to Bitcoin needs to be aware of. Before I reveal the strategy though, just remember that none of this is financial advice. Please be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and leave me a comment. That helps the content reach more people. And if there's something that you want clarification on, maybe aren't 100% sure on, please be sure to ask me in the comments section. I am active there. I will answer any question you have. And one last thing, remember, please, I am now on Instagram at bald_guy_money. You can find me there, and I'll be sharing updates basically daily on how I see things developing with respect to the markets, as well as some things that are going on in my private life if you're interested in seeing that. Okay, so now Bitcoin. I published a video on July 11th called, "Is a Bitcoin Crash Really Coming?" And in it, I talk about this guy, Scott Minerd, the global chief investment officer of a major investment firm called Guggenheim Partners. And back in July, he said that Bitcoin was crashing and could go as low as $15,000 per Bitcoin. And coming from a guy whose company manages more than $300 billion in wealth, a lot of people really took notice to what he was saying. And I even know people who bought Bitcoin kind of near the top when it was around, $50,000, $60,000 back before April, and they actually sold out of Bitcoin at a loss, expecting the price to come back to $20,000. And since then, we know what's happened to Bitcoin. Let's pull up the next chart. As you can see here, Bitcoin bounced pretty hard off of 29,000 after a little bit of sideways action and is now above $50,000 again, giving a remarkable 395% return versus 1 year ago, and leaving some of my friends regretting their decision to sell. Now, I know some of you in the Bald Guy community, and I really like to refer to us as a community, are new to Bitcoin, and you haven't owned it for very long. And to all of you, I say welcome, but you absolutely need to know this. Due to the fact that there can only ever be 21 million Bitcoin, and of that, about 7 million of them are lost forever, the competition to get the remaining Bitcoin is really heating up. As a result, some people will play games in the media to create what's usually called in the community FUD. So fear, uncertainty, and doubt in an effort to get you to sell your Bitcoin. And why? So they can buy it. Now, do you want proof? I offer this up as proof. Let's get back to, okay, perfect. So if we go back to what I presented back in July in that video, you will see that at the same time Mr. Minerd was saying Bitcoin is crashing and that it's like the tulip mania that happened in the 1600s in Holland when the prices of tulips went up and then crashed hard, his company was actually launching funds to gobble up Bitcoin. Now, when it comes to supply on exchanges, this is a very important metric that we all have to look at and understand when considering what is the future for Bitcoin. So just take a look at this chart covering the current reserves on exchanges. It's the purple line there. Sorry, I know it's a bit hard to read, but what I want you to pay attention to is that we are hitting lows with respect to the amount of Bitcoin on exchanges. And this trend is going to continue, especially considering the fact that the SEC, the American Securities and Exchange Commission, will likely approve Bitcoin investment funds soon, meaning a tidal wave of institutional money will be entering Bitcoin and will likely deplete these reserves even further. So the last thing before I take this chart down, which is the absolute most important thing to note here, is that the price of Bitcoin is inversely related to the supply of Bitcoin, meaning the less Bitcoin there is, the higher the price will go. And where's the price going to go? Well, I made that video back in July, and I was saying that by the end of the year, we should hit $85,000 per Bitcoin. And I still stick by that as a minimum conservative estimate of where Bitcoin is going to reach by the end of the year. And that leads me to my best Bitcoin strategy. And it's made up of two parts. Here they are. Number one, dollar cost average in, buying the dips. Now, what this means basically is if you have money earmarked to buy Bitcoin, don't spend it all at once. Spread it out over a month, 2 months, and buy on days when it pulls back 4, 5, even sometimes 6%, because that's the nature of Bitcoin. Don't expose yourself to buying a peak or buying higher prices than what you actually have to pay. Number two, HODL. And that's a term that you might have heard before, and in the crypto community, it basically means hold. So what I do is I dollar cost average in, I buy the dips to make sure that I'm not paying too much for my Bitcoin, and I'm holding for the long term because Bitcoin should reach new highs as time goes on. And listen, you will be tempted to sell at some point, and that's perfectly normal and that's perfectly okay. I always stress the fact that if people have experienced really big gains on an investment, it is good to take some money off of the table, to take the money that you've invested off of the table, and you're basically playing with what I've called house money, okay? And that is not a bad strategy. It is perfectly fine. But I always stress one thing is don't panic. Bitcoin is still in price exploration mode. We don't know really how high this thing is going to go, but we do know it is going to be a bit of a bumpy ride on the way up. So, pull up this visual. Yeah, there it is. Keep calm and HODL should you choose to enter Bitcoin, because I am of the opinion that we are going within the next 5 to 6 years to $1 million Bitcoin. And for many of you out there who are new into investing in Bitcoin, this represents what is called by many in the community, many YouTubers call it life-changing wealth. This can be life-changing for many of you, and don't get spooked out by the people who are deliberately trying to spook you out of Bitcoin and buy it from you. That's it from me for this one. This was a pretty simple, straightforward message, short one. So if you liked it, please, I'd love to collect feedback on this kind of format. So please leave it for me in the comments, as I mentioned before. It also helps the algorithm. And as always, I wish you all success. I wish you happiness. I sincerely wish you all happiness. I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.